I'm going to work out the practice test for the chapter 4.1 to 4.3 test. So let's get started. First question is asking whether it's a polynomial. If it is, we need to put it in standard form, state the degree, the leading coefficient, and name that polynomial. So let's look at the first one. The first thing we're going to do is look at the coefficients. It's a polynomial, or it works for a polynomial if the coefficients are not imaginary. So any real number works. So I have 5, I have a -7, I have a 1, and I have a -1. So the coefficients pass. They're okay. Okay, so as we said that the coefficients pass, let's look at the exponents. The exponents have to be integers, and they have to be greater than or equal to 0. So 0, 1, 2, 3, they can't be negative, and they cannot be variables. 3 is okay. Wait, we have a -2 right there. So the exponents don't pass. They cannot be a negative number, so they don't pass. Is it a polynomial? No. We don't have to fill anything else out. Let's go to the next one. Let's check the coefficients. 1/2, square root of 14, -5, -1. Yes, the coefficients are okay. None of them are imaginary numbers. Well, let's look at the exponents. A 2, a cube, a 1, and a 0. The exponents pass also, so it is a polynomial. Standard form, we're going to go from the largest exponent to the smallest, so that would be the square root of 14. Then we'd have the exponent of 2, so that would be plus 1/2 x squared. Now let's move to the exponent of 1. The degree is, wait, I forgot my x here. Now let's do that over. It's not supposed to be under the square root. The degree is the largest exponent. The leading coefficient is the coefficient that's in front of the largest exponent, which would be the square root of 14. Since it's a degree 3, it's a cubic. Okay, let's go to the next question. This says evaluate the polynomial for the given value of x. So I'm going to put a 5 into all the, actually I guess it's x, it should be n in this case. So let's go ahead and put 5 in for the n. So I would have 5 times 5 cubed minus 31 times 5 squared plus 35 times 5 minus 36. Okay, 5 cubed is 125, so I would have 5 times 125 minus 31 times 25, 5 squared, plus 35 times 5, 175 minus 36. 125 times 5 is 625. Minus 31 times 25 is 775. Plus 175 minus 36. So putting those into a calculator, I have a -11. Okay, the next one says evaluate it when a is a -6. So I'm going to have a -6 to the 4th plus 7 times a -6 cubed plus 4 times a -6 squared minus 12 times a -6 minus 2. Okay, a -6 to the 4th power, that's going to be an even number. It's going to be 1296. A -6 cubed, that's 216. It's a negative, so a negative cubed is still a negative, so I'm going to be minusing 7 times 216. Now I've got 4 times negative 6 squared, and negative number squared is a positive number. And now I have a minus 6 and a subtraction, so that's going to come out to be plus. Okay, let's go ahead and simplify. That's okay. Let's use a calculator. And if I put those in the calculator, I get a negative 2. Okay, the next problem. Let's go ahead and we're going to have to distribute this negative. Now this is not a multiplication, it's a subtraction. So I have a negative 2x cubed minus 7x minus 3. Now minus a minus 2 minus a minus 5x minus a minus 2x to the 4th. Okay, so let's go ahead and put them in standard form. So the x to the 4th is the largest exponent. Let's look for the x cubes. I only have one of them. Let's look for the x squareds. I don't have any x squareds. Then let's go to the x's. I have a minus 7x plus 5x. That would be a minus 2x. And then I have a minus 3 and a plus 2. So that would be minus 1. Let's move to the next one. Okay, I got 5a to the 4th minus 2a to the 5th plus 6. Now I have plus 4a to the 5th minus 7a to the 4th minus 1. Let's combine like terms. I have a 5a to the 4th and a minus 7a to the 4th. That's minus 2a to the 4th. Wait a second. That's a 5th power. So let's do the 5th first. So I have a 5th power. That's my largest exponent. Actually, I have another 5th power right here. So I have a minus 2 to the 5th and a 4a to the 5th. So minus 2 plus 4. That's going to be a minus 2 plus 2 a to the 5th. So I got rid of my 5th power terms. Let's look for any 4th powers. I got a 5 and a minus 7. Got those done, and I have 6 minus 1. So that'd be plus 5. Next one's multiplication. So I have 4x to the 4th, so 4 times 8 is 32. And the exponents will add, so I have a 4 plus a 2, so that would be x to the 6th. Now I have 4 times a negative 3, that would be minus 12. I have an x to the 4th and an x, that would be x to the 5th. Then I have 4 times a plus 8, would be plus 32. 4, and there is no other exponent, so I would have that expression. The next one is a trinomial times a trinomial. So every term in the first parentheses has to multiply by every term in the next one. So x squared times 5x squared, that's going to be 5x to the 4th. The exponents add. X squared times a minus 6x is a minus 6x cubed. X squared times a minus 8 is a minus 8x squared. Now let's move to the x. X times 5x squared is plus 5x cubed. X times a minus 6x is a minus 6x squared. X times a minus 8 is a minus 8x. Now to the 7. 7 times 5 is plus 35x squared. 7 times minus 6 is minus 42x. And lastly, 7 times minus 8 is minus 56. Okay, so let's simplify. For the x to the fourth, I only have one of those. Okay, I have a negative 6x cubed plus 5x cubed. That would be minus x cubed. Then I have, let's move to the squares. I have a minus 8x squared minus 6x squared plus 35. So I have 35 minus basically negative 8 minus 6 is minus 14, so that would be plus 21x squared. Now I have a minus 8x minus 42x, that would be minus 50x plus 56. Actually, that's a minus 56 out there. I think that's it for that page. Let's go to the next page. Okay, I have 5n to the minus 2 squared. That would be 5n minus 2 times 5n minus 2. So by the FOIL method, I would have 25n squared. This 5n times a minus 2 would be a minus 10n. The minus 2 times 5n would be minus 10n. And lastly, a negative 2 times a negative 2 would be plus 4. So simplifying, I would have 25n squared minus 20n plus 4. The next one is a cube, so let's go ahead and do it. That's going to be a minus 5b times a minus 5b times a minus 5b. Now we're going to multiply the first two terms together first. That would be a times a, that's a squared, minus 5ab, and now let's move that one times that one, would be another minus 5ab. And lastly, I have a minus 5 times a minus 5, that's plus 25b squared times a minus 5b. And now let's simplify. We got a squared minus 10ab plus 25b squared times a minus 5b. So all the parts of the first parentheses times all the parts of the second. So I have a squared times a squared. That's a cubed. A squared minus 5b would be minus 5a squared b. Now let's move to the second term. A minus 10ab times a would be minus 10. Now the a times the a is a squared, and then I have b. This minus 10ab times a minus 5b would be a minus 10 times a minus 5, that's plus 50. I have a, and then I have b times the b would be b squared. Move to the last term, 25b squared. So 25b squared times a would be plus 25a b squared. And lastly, 25 times a negative 5 would be minus 125b times b squared times b would be b cubed. Simplifying, I have a cubed. Now I have a minus 5 and a minus 10, a squared b, so that's minus 15, a squared b. So I've got this term gone, I've got this and this. Now I've got these a, b squared terms. I have a plus 50 and a plus 25, so plus 75, a, b squared, takes care of those. And then lastly, I have a minus 125, b cubed. Okay, another three binomials multiplied together, so we'll multiply the first two. So I'm going to have 2x times x, that's 2x squared. 2x times the 4 is a minus 8x. Now the 3 times the x is plus 3x. And lastly, 3 times a minus 4 would be minus 12. And that thing is going to be multiplied by x plus 1. So let's simplify the first term. 2x squared minus 5x minus 12 times x plus 1. So 2x squared times x, that will be 2x cubed. 2x squared times 1 would be plus 2x squared. Move to the negative 5x. Negative 5x times x is a minus 5x squared. Negative 5x times plus 1 is minus 5x. Move to the 12. Negative 12. Negative 12 times x is a minus 12x. Negative 12 times 1 is a minus 12. So combining like terms, 2x cubed. I have 2x squared minus 5x squared. That's minus 3x squared. Negative 5x and minus 12. That's minus 17x minus 12. Okay, the next problem, we're going to have to find the perimeter and the area for a rectangle. So let's just draw a little picture of it. Okay, so it's going to have two sides at x minus 8. And the other two sides are going to be 4x squared minus 6x plus 6. So for the perimeter, we're going to add all the sides together. So let's add the two smaller sides together. It really doesn't matter how we do this. You can see that if I add the two long sides together, that 4x squared plus 4x squared, I would get 8x squared. And then the minus 6x and the minus 6x is a minus 12x. The plus 6 and the plus 6 is a plus 12. So that's one of my sides. And I'm going to add that to the other side. And let's go ahead at x plus an x. That's going to be 2x. And this is an 8. It's at the end of the page, so it's not coming out very good. And it'd be a minus 8 minus 8, so it'd be 2x minus 16. So let's add those together. So I'm going to have 8x squared. Then I have this minus 12x. But I have a 2x over here, so that's going to be minus 10x. A plus 12 and a minus 16 would be minus 4. Now these are not multiplied, they're just additions, so that would be my perimeter. My area is I'm going to multiply one side times the other side. So, okay, now for the area, we're going to have to multiply both two sides together. So x minus 8 times the long side. So I've already written that out. So let's go ahead and put those together. So x times 4x squared, that would be 4x cubed, minus 6x squared. X times the 6 would be plus 6x. Now the negative 8 times 4x squared would be minus 32x squared. Negative 8 times a minus 6x would be plus 48x. And a negative 8 times 6 would be minus 48. Okay, let's simplify. I'd get 4x cubed. I have a minus 6x squared and a minus 32x squared. So that would be a minus 38x squared. Now I have a plus 6x and a plus 48x. So that would be plus 54x. Minus 48. That would be an expression for the area. Okay, let's move down to the next ones. See what we got here. Okay, so I need to divide these two, so I'm going to use long division. So my divisor is x squared minus 5x minus 2, and I'm dividing that into this other number. Now let's check to see that we have all the exponents. I have 2x to the 4th. I do not have an x cubed, so I better put a holder for that. minus 40x squared. I don't have an x, so I better put a holder for that. That would be plus 0x minus 28. So what times x squared would give me 2x to the fourth? That would be 2x squared, so I'm going to put 2x squared here. That would be 2x to the fourth when I multiply it. 2x squared times a minus 5x would be a minus 10x cubed. 2x times a minus 2 is a minus 4x squared. Okay, let's subtract. So 2 minus 2 is 0. 0 minus a minus 10, that's a plus 10x cubed. 40 minus a negative 4, that would be a negative 40 plus 4. That would be minus 36x squared plus 0x minus 28. Let's get rid of the x cubed. So I'm going to multiply this x squared times 10x. So that would be plus 10x. That would give me 10x cubed. Now 10x times a minus 5x is a minus 50x squared. 10x times a minus 2 is a minus 20x. Subtract. 10 minus 10 is 0. Negative 36 minus a minus 50 would be plus 50. That would be 14x squared. 0 minus a negative 20 would be plus 20x. Minus 28. Let's get rid of the x squared. So that would be taking that time off of 14. So that would be 14x squared. 14 times a minus 5. That would be minus 70x. And 14 times a minus 2 is minus 28. We subtract. 14 minus 14 is 0. 20 minus a negative 70, that would be plus 70, so I'm going to get 90x. 28, negative 28 minus a negative 28, that would be negative 28 plus 28, that would be 0. So that's what I have when I subtract. X squared will not divide in there, so that's my remainder. So I can write my answer now is 2x squared plus 10x plus 14 plus my remainder, which is 90x, all over what I divided by. And this is my answer. Okay, let's move over to the next one. Now we're using long division on this. So I have n minus 10. We'll divide into. I've got a cubed. I have a squared. I have an n. And I have a constant term. So they're all there. So what I need to multiply n by to give me n cubed, that would be n squared. That gives me n cubed minus 10n squared. Subtract. So 1 minus 1 is 0. 17 minus a negative 10 is a plus 10. So that's a negative 7n squared plus 76n minus 63. Now let's get rid of the negative 7n squared. So I would have to multiply by minus 7n. That would give me a negative 7n squared. Negative 7n times a negative 10 is plus 70n. And a negative, that's it. So let's subtract. Negative 7 minus a negative 7, that's plus 7, so that's 0. 76 minus 70, that would be 6n. And let's bring down the 63. Okay, now I need to get rid of the n, so I'm going to multiply by 6. That would be 6n minus 60. So I'm subtracting. 6 minus 6 is 0. Negative 63 minus a minus 60. That's plus 60, so I get a negative 3 as a remainder. So my answer is going to be then I'm going to add to that my remainder over n minus 10. And that would be my answer. Okay, the last two problems are going to be using synthetic division to divide. That's going to be a lot quicker as long as my divisors look right. Remember, this has to be a power of 1, and it is, and it can't have any coefficient in front of it, and it doesn't. So let's go ahead and set this up. If my factor is v minus 9, my root is v equal to a negative 9. So that is what I'm going to be using synthetic division with. Let's pull off the coefficients. Here's the cubic coefficient. I have a squared coefficient. I have an 86 and a 42. I think they're all there. Cubic, squared, yes they are. So this is how we do synthetic division. We bring down the 8. We take the 8 times a negative 9. I get a negative 72. Now I add and I get 10. 10 times a minus 9 would be a negative 90. And I add, I get a negative 4. So I have a negative 4 times 9 is 36. Actually, this was, if you look at our coefficients, this was a negative 42. So nothing's changed, except now when I get to this, I'm adding those together, and I've got a negative 42 and a positive 36. I'm going to get a negative 6 coming out. So expressing that, this would be my remainder, constant, x squared. So I have 8x squared plus 10x minus 4 plus a negative 6 all over v plus 9. Okay, next synthetic division. Okay, so I have a fourth power. There's a 5. I have a cubic. That's a negative 10. I have a square. That's a negative 4. I have an n term, and I have a constant term. So they're all there. Now, since n minus 1 is my factor, my 0 would actually be n equal to 1. That's what I put outside of the division box. 5. 5 times 1 is 5. Add them together, I get a negative 5. Negative 5 times 1 is a negative 5. Add those together, I get a negative 9. Negative 9 times 1 is a negative 9. Add that to 18, I get a positive 9. 9 times 1 is 9. And when I add those together, I get a negative 5. Okay, so this is the constant term. This is, that's the remainder. Constant x squared, x cubed. So 5x cubed minus 5x squared minus 9x minus 9 plus a negative 5 all over my factor. Wait, this is a plus 9. Sorry, that 9 there is plus, so that's a plus. And that's it.